Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode number 269 of the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media, and this guy's a repeat customer. Been a while since we've caught up with him, almost 3 years since we have said hello to Phillies outfielder Nick Castellanos. Happy New Year. How you doing, man? Long time no chat.
I'm good. Happy New Year to you, too. How was your holiday?
Great. Listen, my kid, we'll hear your kids throughout the show. I don't know where Liam is, but my man Otto, who's awesome and got an amazing smile. How old is he, 2 now?
He'll be 3 in May.
3. I love it. See, I missed that because my boys are 24 and 19, and I'm just hugging them for dear life that they don't run out and take the car somewhere or go back to college. So enjoy the time.
I hear it happens fast.
Oh, my God. You know it does. And that's what I love. I want to start in the offseason. You got to see Liam's first over-the-fence home run this year?
Yep.
And?
It was an awesome moment. Awesome. It looked a lot like me when, I hit my first home run. Just, you'll see him, he's skipping around, hopping, yelling. He was blacked out for probably the next 2 minutes after that, but it was a great swing.
It was great. It was like perfect Castellanos swing. So I'm curious, you've hit almost 250 in the show. What
Sure.
is it like when you get to see your son leave and go, yeah?
I mean, I'm way happier for him than I am for myself, that's for sure. And I think it's just because I see how much he genuinely loves it, how much hard work he does put in, and just to be able to feel that accomplishment of hitting it over the fence. I was so happy that he got to experience it, because that feeling is why I'm still playing baseball. It's an addictive feeling.
Does he love it?
Unfortunately, he loves it.
What do you mean, unfortunately? Come on. What do you mean, unfortunately? Don't give me that.
Hey, the day after we lost to the Mets, he was pulling me out of the house wanting to do long toss, and that's when I realized that I'm in this for the rest of my life.
It's over, dude.
Yeah.
You know that.
But baseball's a beautiful game. So I mean, if he loves it, that means like I'm all in, right? Like I have to be every bit all in for him that my dad was for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious about this because, both my sons played. My older one didn't play very much, but the younger one ended up being a decent player. And so word got around, they're like, hey, that's Chris Rose's kid. And they think just because I cover baseball for decades that my kid's going to be any good. Now, if they've ever seen me in person, see me throw or hit, they know I sucked. So he actually, all the good that he did was on his own. But when it's Nick Castellanos' kid, doesn't that get around a little bit? And do you have to have a talk with Liam? Just like be your own dude. Whoever you are, you are.
Sure. He knows that there's a little bit of probably expectation from other people just because of the last name that he carries. So there's going to be a responsibility that comes with that, but there's also opportunity with that too, because he is my son. He will attract eyeballs of people in the game just because of that. So it's a double-edged sword. I think the biggest thing with me is first off to keep him humble, right? I'm never going to want him to think that the game owes him something only because he bears my last name. And then also, too, this might sound stupid, just to make sure that he enjoys it. Because, I mean, if he interrupted this interview and said, Dad, like, I want to quit, I'm going to be like, okay, but you're going to do something else. That's like the rule. You have to you're going to give your all to something.
I love that, man. I think it's what we're always learning as parents. And that's the one, like, I wasn't a good baseball player, but I always felt like I was a good baseball parent. And I think it's so important that we as parents have to remember kids are going to mess up. There's days they're not going to be into it, all that sort of stuff. And so you just have to deal with it. Like, let's stop putting our own expectations and projections on them. Let them be kids. Let them fail. Let them succeed. Let them build relationships. I think that's the best way to go, don't you?
In amateur and professional baseball.
Ooh, why'd you say professional baseball, too?
Because
what are we missing?
What's the difference between a professional baseball player and Liam? At the end of the day, it's still this kid spirit out there playing,
Dig that. I'm in. I haven't been stalking your Instagram, but I did notice that you and Jess and the kiddos went to Japan.
Yeah.
Now, I'm jealous because I haven't been yet. How did you settle on taking kids that young to Japan?
Well, Jess wanted to take Otto. I wanted like Liam is old enough to be able to learn and appreciate the culture. You know, and he's a smart kid, so he knows what's going on. Otto, he's got no idea what's going on, but he's just happy to be part of the mix, which was great. And you know, you with like in marriage, you're gonna pick your battles, right? I thought that we could have left Otto back, but she wanted to take him. All right, let's take him. So it wasn't as relaxing as I thought it would have been because always it's an adventure when Otto's running around. Uh, but it was amazing, right? I got memories and uh, just a lot of things that I'm gonna be able to look back and remember and laugh pretty hard, being able to see both my boys run around all these like sacred places and temples and things like that.
What was the best part that maybe you didn't expect out of the trip where you're like, damn, this is cool?
Well, now or at like now that the trip's over and I'm back at home.
Give me what you got.
Because so Otto and Liam set off the alarm at the Imperial Palace in Kyoto because they crossed over into the gardens, which is like a huge no-no. So at the time, it was a little bit stressful because it was pretty loud, and a bunch of people started popping out, looking at what was going on. But once we realized we weren't in too much trouble and it was an accident, now looking back, that's something that I'm going to remember always.
You thought they were going to throw you in the slammer.
Listen, I'm not really that familiar with it, and these, Japan takes their landscape and their gardens pretty seriously.
Mm-hmm. Very seriously. That's no joke over there. Had you always been a fan of the Far East culture? Was there something or had you even been over there before?
That was our first time in Asia for both me and
Uh-huh.
Jess. Sure, I've always appreciated Eastern philosophy and things like that. So Japan has definitely been a place of interest of both Jess and I, and we just decided that this was going to be the off season that we were going to go there. Technically, the trip was sparked by my brother Ryan. He was all in on wanting to go, and then something happened. He couldn't end up making the trip, but we're like, man, we already have these days blocked off, so we still went.
So our youngest son, Brady, in between his junior and senior year in high school, he actually played baseball over there for a week. And he came back and he said, first of all, thank you for sending me. Best week of my life. And he goes, Dad, Japanese baseball players, it is a different game. He goes, we could really hit the ball better than they, but everything else was on point. There wasn't one relay throw. There wasn't one misstep, a false step in the field. There wasn't one guy who ran the bases poorly. He was like, it is a different level over there.
Yeah, they pay attention to detail very well. They're extremely detail oriented, but that's how they are in everything, cooking and like samurai class that we took. It's every single detail matters, and I'm sure in baseball it's the same way. There's no wonder why the Japanese players that come over here can have success because of how well they're taught to prepare and to play. Granted, I think that just like the raw talent level in the United States is higher.
How was the samurai class?
Cool. If I got into a sword fight with somebody who knew that they were doing, I don't think that I would win for sure.
But your skills have significantly improved. Like my guess is if we were to rank all of the samurai sword carriers in Major League Baseball 1 through 750 plus, you'd be pretty high now.
Sure, definitely higher than I was before the class.
So take me through this. What's the challenge? What do they do?
The challenge is to always have the sword connected to your center. So as you move, you're positioning the sword so every time you strike, it's not like you're not flailing it. So it's everything is in sync. That's why sword fighting and calligraphy and things like that are tied into a lot of like the fine arts with dance and poetry because it's all like fluid motion.
you're a different man, Castellanos. You and your culture. I'm kind of digging this. I
Thanks.
mean, yeah, are we going to go down to Clearwater in spring training, and now we're going to be bringing a different feeling to the Phillies clubhouse now? This is going to be nice.
Let's see how it plays out.
I love it. I love it. By the way, I can't tell from the back. Is all the hair gone?
Yeah, I cut it. I did it. I did it for a year, and I was over it. A lot of maintenance.
Yeah. Well, in that clubhouse, I thought you guys were going to have a hair off between you, Harper, Bohm, Marsh. Like y'all were trying to win some sort of competition, it looked like.
Hey, there's some good lettuce on the Phillies. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Well, the aerodynamics on this, who knows? You might be stealing 33 bags now with this look.
I'll be happy with double digits. Let me go first to third. Let me score from second on the hits. Take my random bag when they're not paying attention.
I love it. Much more with the fascinating Nick Castellanos is coming your way. Of course, it is a new year, and we're all about setting goals and actually hitting them. That's why I want to talk to you about today's sponsor. It is Huel. It is spelled Huel, the global complete nutritional brand trusted by millions out there. Now, Huel is a perfectly balanced meal. It is designed by experts to provide all the nutrients that your body needs from a meal. Huel takes the guesswork out of eating healthy. They're convenient. They taste so good. Huel shakes, they taste just like a milkshake, right? I'm going to have a little sip right here. It tastes great. And even that sip is filling. I got to be honest with you. Now, they come in chocolate, which is my preferred destination, or vanilla. Another one of my favorites is the Black Edition, ready to drink. It's got 35 grams of protein plus 27 vitamins and minerals, all in one handy-dandy bottle. So join the community of Hooligans with this exclusive offer for our new customers. That's 15% off plus a free gift. Use the code ROSE15 at Huel.com. That's 15% plus a free gift for new customers with the code ROSE15 at Huel.com. Start your year off strong. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters. Enjoy. I know that the season didn't end the way that you guys wanted it to. You lost in the divisional round of the Mets. The one win you did get, you had the knockoff hit at home. Place was electric, and it gave us one of the indelible moments, I thought, of the postseason of you and Liam celebrating there. At first, you hang out with your teammates. You get to celebrate that. You guys even the series, the whole bit. But then when you went over to Liam afterward and shared those moments, do you know in the time, like, how many special connective moments you are having with your son over the years because of this sort of stuff?
I mean, do I recognize it? Yeah, I'm sure I recognize it, but I mean, I'm not doing anything that I wouldn't normally be doing if the cameras weren't there. That's just kind of just how it is with us, whether he's doing something in jiu-jitsu or whatever, like we support each other. I mean, I had him pretty much as a kid, right? Like I was 21. It's not like I was a full-on adult. So in a lot of ways, we're growing up together.
But it's just awesome. I think the thing I've realized now that I'm in my early 50s that it is all about moments. Like you guys are going to have those. It's
Forever.
just yours are kind of in front of the camera for us to see. And I think it's just so special and heartwarming that we get this as fathers and sons, don't you?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just freaking awesome. I thought you were so good in the post-game locker room afterward. You gave the Mets their flowers, and you said it just didn't break our way. Do I feel like we're a better team? Yes. Were they a better team that series? Yes. How disheartening is it when you have World Series dreams? Because let's be honest, not all 30 teams have that at the beginning of the year. The Phillies are one of a handful of teams that do. How long does it take to get over losses like that?
Well, I think grieving comes in waves. There's some times where it sucks, obviously, right after, but then there's like a decompression period where it's like, man, I get to relax for a second because baseball's been going on for 8 months or however long already. So there is a little bit of like, you get to take a breath. And then, at least for me, then like the analyzing and the processing comes into play, right? And then I get to sit back and listen to all the postseason interviews and just pay attention to the organization.
Is it fair that some people label a season like your team had as a failure because you don't win at all?
I mean, I think that's just what comes with being in a big market and having an owner that is spending the money that John is spending, right? I'm pretty sure that it's was familiar with Steve Cohen when he first brought on Scherzer, and then they ended up losing to the Padres. I don't think that Mets fans and the media were just content with, getting to playoff baseball. I'm pretty sure too that there's certain New York tabloids that are saying the Yankee season was a failure because they didn't win. So I think that just comes with the territory of being in a big market and having players on the field with big contracts.
How do players see it? Do you guys see it as a failure if you don't win the World Series when you're handsomely paid and a great team like Philadelphia?
Sure, I'm not happy walking away. I can only speak for me, right? Like I'm not going to speak for the whole Phillies team, but me personally, sure, I have a sour taste in my mouth because I recognize I'm 32 years old. I have however many years I've played already in the big leagues. Like I'm on the back nine, so to speak, potentially in my career. So there's only so many more opportunities that I could have to win a ring. I remember being 21 with the Tigers and clinching with Torrey and Prince and Miggy and Verlander, thinking that, man, I'm gonna do this every year.
I'm sure you thought that way. A lot
For
of people
sure.
probably thought that
Why
way.
wouldn't
I hear you, man. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. Do you got a couple of big name guys that are heading into their walk year, right? Guys that have been very important to this team over the last few seasons. Schwarber,
Sure.
JT. Do you guys know that like this might be this gang's last time to try and accomplish and reach the Holy Grail?
Sure, I'm aware of that.
Is it something that is talked about amongst you guys, or do you just kind of recognize it? Like, we know the business side of this shit. It could change at any time. So we just got to do the best we can. Is that what it
Well,
is?
I think every person in our locker room is aware of the business side because of their own personal journeys. We have a lot of free agents that have signed there, so they're all familiar with that. And as we haven't really talked about it, we haven't seen each other. I don't really know what the conversation and stuff is going to be like when we get to spring training. I don't know the message that Thompson is going to have for the team. I don't know if there's going to be a different philosophy that's going to be passed down from Dave Dombrowski before. I don't know. I'm excited to be able to get there and see a little bit what it's going to sound like.
Do you pay attention to what goes on in the offseason with other big teams? Do you pay, like when Blake Snell signs with the Dodgers or when Soto goes from New York for what's going to end up being over $800 million? Do you pay attention to that? Do you just shrug your shoulders and say, all right, I'll strap it up and I'll see you at the end of March?
Well, I don't look for it. I get told the stuff by other friends of mine that I see in person on the daily basis that are in the baseball world. So I'm not somebody that has like notifications popping up on my phone, and I'm also not following any free agency like journey.
Were you amazed though when Soto signed for that amount of money?
Am I amazed? I was a little bit surprised. Was I amazed? Like with Shohei, I get it. Especially going over and being in Japan. Like you just with one player, you captured the whole like country of Japan is Dodgers fans now, right? So you see Dodgers stuff everywhere, and I don't know the ins and outs and finances and how much, but I bet you that if TV deals and stuff like that, I know that Shohei going there is making the Dodgers a lot of money outside of the United States. So that, like, I understand because he's a international world player. And then I also know Scott is unbelievable at comps and being able to do this and that and using another person's number to say that this is where this new realm is where we're at. And, you know, Steve Cohen apparently is somebody who's not afraid to spend money. So I think that if you just add all of those things together, there's an opportunity where somebody like Juan Soto at the age of 26 to be able to get a 15-year, $800 million contract.
You had trouble getting through the 15-year, $800 million contract. It is amazing to say, dude. Like I work in the NFL too. And guys, they don't get baseball, some of the football guys. They're like, now explain this to me. They're paying more than $750 million for one baseball player? Like, how can that exist? I said, it's crazy, but that's the way it works, bro.
I think that just opens up the conversation, right? That because it exists, it exists. So now we have to talk about it. I don't think that there can be that much of a discrepancy where one team is able to do that, and then you have other teams that are not nearly in the realm of being able to compete like that financially. You know what I mean? That's like a gigantic separation. I also don't really understand completely like the luxury tax and the Dodgers and the amount of deferred money that they have and how that's going to play in the future. I don't truly understand the economics of that, but it's not my job to understand the economics of that. It's my job to be ready to play right field for the Phillies as best I can.
You know what? Maybe you can answer this question because Plouffe and I, we do another. By the way, he says hello. He said, make sure you tell Nikki C that I say hi from our old AL Central days.
Let's go, baby. So, best hair in the game at that time.
He still got it. He still got that part of it. He's about 30 pounds lighter than when you used to do battles with him. Now he's the slim, trim, trying to stay hot dad guy in his late 30s. Just want to tell you that.
Good for him.
Yeah. But we were talking on our other show, Baseball Today, how the Marlins have not spent $1 this offseason.
Sure.
On big leaguers. You grew up in South Florida. And he goes, it's such a hotbed for baseball. People love it. Why doesn't it feel like it works with fans in Miami and Tampa Bay necessarily? Do you have a grasp on that as a kid who went to a Marlins World Series game?
Yeah, I can. I can't so much with Tampa, but I can give my honest opinion as a Marlin because after all, I live here and I grew up a fan. Mm-hmm. I think that the way that they're trying to market the team and connect them with the city is wrong. I also know that there's a lot of distrust that the city of Miami and especially like the Marlins fans that were there when it was Joe Robbie and Pro Player Stadium when they had that first team that won in '97. Because remember, the Marlins were, I think, born as a franchise in '91 or '93. So within the first 10 years or 12 years of their existence, they had 2 World Series titles. That's the same as Philly, and they took care of that in my childhood. And there's been just constant moving instead of for baseball product, for profit, right? For looking at the baseball organization for individuals to increase their monetary asset. Mm-hmm. And, you mix that in with some years of not playing that well and having some losing seasons. I think there's just a pretty large disconnect right now and trust with the franchise. Also, what player are they going to connect with, right? Like, I think the Phillies right now, we're selling out and we're having so many people come to the games. I think that's because they feel a real connection to Bryce and to JT and to Nola, Kyle, myself, Trey, like these guys that they're going to become familiar with and they can buy their jerseys and grow up watching and like connect with. Where with Marlins, they've been turning pieces in and out, hand over foot. So it's like what numbers are out there today? I don't think that there's that like loving connection with one player. And also, unfortunately, a lot of the players too don't want to be there. You have the conversations with them, and it's like, man, we're grinding, can't wait to get traded. 10 more days to the season's over. I ask these questions because part of me cares still, just because, you know, I owe the Marlins organization a lot because, in a way, they sparked my love for baseball and the possibility to make it to the big leagues in the first place. But I will say that I do believe that Derek was on the right track with the things that he was doing because their young pitching core was for a while top notch in baseball with what he had to work with whatever financial parameters he had to work around, right? Because it's not like if you sign up for that Marlins gig, you're going to have the same financial parameters as the New York Yankees, Mets, Phillies, Los Angeles Dodgers. That's just the truth. And I think that he did a fantastic job with that. They had, two postseason appearances? They didn't have it. I still give him credit for that 2023 postseason appearance because a lot of that was done off pitching with guys that he looks for and he developed. But, I mean, now they're in a little bit of I don't really know what direction they're going in. I think that's a Gabe Kapler question.
That's great stuff, man. Appreciate that insight. I know it's hard listen, you get paid by a different organization in the division, but I imagine when you go play down there your 2 series a year, you look around and you're like, this sucks for kids that are 7 years old.
Well, I mean, it may be I always enjoy it because for me, those are the fullest houses, fullest stadiums, I play in only because I know the majority of the people there. So if there's 75 people there that I personally know, that stadium is heavier than 45,000 people that I don't.
Got it. Good perspective there. And also, I'm curious about this stuff. With Philly fans, they are into it. You talked about it earlier in this conversation. They are 100% in, and it's great most days, and it probably sucks some days. Can you hear stuff when you're at the plate? Do you hear fans yelling when things aren't going great?
Of course. Remember that question that reporter asked me, Jim, I don't know his last name?
Yes.
Can I hear the booze? What a stupid question. People working.
So I just asked the dumb question. I just asked the stupid question again.
People in the Lincoln Financial Center can hear that, fixing the turf field for the Eagle or the fields for the Eagles games. They can hear the booze. You think me in the center of the bowl can't hear the booze?
How do you compartmentalize?
Well, for me, there was a really pretty big realization that I had in the playoffs. When I had that at bat, that they were like sarcastically booing and everything. And, hitting is hard enough. Hitting at 4:00 in the bank with the shadows is hard. I'm not here to make excuses, but it's difficult. So they had that and, they did that sarcastic cheer. And it's like, man, I'm not out here for them, right? I'm out here for myself and I'm out here for my teammates. So I think if you go to Philly and you look to be loved by Philly, that's a trap you're never going to win.
And that took some adjusting for you, huh?
Sure. Just because I've never been in an environment like that. In Detroit, I was a homegrown kid, first-round draft pick. My mom was born there, right? So, like, a little bit of familiarity. There feels like a genuine love. Then going to the Cubs, I mean, how can you not be loved by Cubs fans, right? You're down by 10, you score 1 run in the 9th, and it's party at Wrigley. And then the fans in Cincinnati, that's just good old Midwest country. You're not going to hear any disrespectful things from those people. They cheer. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. It's different. So to go to Philly is just an adjustment to get used to the environment that you're playing.
So if I were to ask you, do you like playing in Philadelphia? Because I think you played 162 games. You played every game last year, dude. You grind. And I know you're not healthy all year, so you could have taken some days off, but that's not who you are. I think you're more like those Philly fans than probably even Philly fan realizes.
Maybe. I think that I don't really. There's a few Philly fans that I've become to personally know that
Mm-hmm.
are solid people, right? If you ask me Philly, like the ball of energy that is the city of Philadelphia, like I'm just gonna put that to the side because it's not really, it's not in my, I can't control that. It's gonna do what it does, right? But the way to simplify it, John Middleton's paying me a lot of money to play baseball. So I owe it to him to go about my business the best way that I can and to be on the field to earn my paychecks, right? Obviously I'm going to have good games, I'm going to have bad games, but just to take it as seriously as possible cuz obviously too I care for the game, I respect my craft, I want to represent the last name on the back of my jersey well, and above all I want to be a role model for Liam.
Love that. If a buddy of yours was a free agent and
Sure.
Philadelphia was knocking on his door and he had comparable offers between Philadelphia and another good team, and he
Sure.
said, lay it on the line. If I sign here, what am I looking at? What would you say?
Where other places are you going?
Let's say good teams. Let's say there's a San Diego that's had some nice run in recent years. Let's say it's a Texas that won a World Series a couple years ago and looks like they're primed for a bounce back season. So let's say the money is roughly even,
Sure.
okay, and you feel like you're going to have a shot at the World Series in any of the three places, but Philadelphia is a possibility. And they say, well, what's it really like to play there? What do you tell somebody?
I would say that we have a phenomenal organization, right? And Dave Dombrowski is great at his job. He believes in the people that he hires. John Middleton is an owner that's serious about winning. So when you come here, you're really going to have a chance for that. And then if he asks me about the city, I'll say, listen, you're just going to have to understand like where you're playing. Last year we won the division, and then we rested all of our guys, and then we lost to the Cubs by 8 runs, and we were booed off the field, already going into a playoff berth. So I mean, if you can like push to the side like the need to be loved by people you don't know, you're going to be fine. If you're somebody that really wants that love and adoration from like a large group of people, you're probably going to struggle. But if I really, it depends how much of a relationship I have with him, right? Like I'd have to go into playing time, right? You said Texas and San Diego. We're going to break down on how much money he's going to lose for taxes, because even though the money's comparable, if he takes signs in Philly and San Diego, right, he's going to keep a lot more if he signs in Texas. So it's if I really care for the person, we'll break it out and we'll discuss uh, the scenario in totality.
You said something interesting about the Cubs game where you guys rested players a little bit down the stretch. You get booed off the field after losing to them. Do you guys just look at each other and do you all say, "Hey, that's just Philly. That's just the way it is," or are you like, "Screw those guys"?
I mean, yeah, like we've definitely gone through periods where we've said those things to ourselves, but that's where we remember that we're in it for each other,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like when they're on our side, it's fantastic. There's no better environment to be playing in when Philadelphia is on your side. When they're not, now you got to fight the other team, and you got to fight our media, and you got to fight our fans. Like it definitely brings, if you have any soft parts inside, Philly's going to harden it up.
Well, I remember the last time we had you on the show, it wasn't soon after Bohm had the air-filled game, and I remember that you told us, you pulled him aside and said, "Hey, listen, 15 years down the road, you're going to remember this as one of like the turning points of your career." I think it was something along those lines where you're like, "This is a moment that's going to benefit you." Well, in the offseason, his name has been thrown around trade talk left and right. I don't know if you're paying attention to it, but his name has been out there. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. Have you talked to him in the offseason and been like, "Listen, dude, just take it easy. All's going to be well, whether you're here with us or you're not here with us. I believe in you. Do you have to give a young guy like that pep talk when he's hearing this sort of talk for the first time?
I'm not sure. I don't know how he is in the daily. I don't take any trade rumors seriously unless it's like my name attached with another team and there's players on both sides. Then I'll pay attention. So like when this thing came up with me and Alec Boehm for Tucker, easy. Grab my phone, text Dave, picture the article. Hey, is this true? No, it's not true. So now I'm left with either you can't trust the media or Dave Dombrowski's a liar. So far since I've been in Philly, Dave's been a straight shooter, and any single time I've asked him a question, he's been honest. So I'm going to go, can't trust the media.
And that just washed away. That's pretty proactive of you. That's really smart.
Well, that's I don't have an agent now, so I just go right to the source. If I have any issues about anything or I need to raise concerns, I'll just go to my employer.
Not everybody has that sort of relationship. Where do you think that comes from?
Relationship with what? You're talking about with me and the team?
Yeah, you and Dave. I don't think everybody would feel comfortable necessarily doing that.
They should. With Dave, there's a little bit maybe of familiarity. I mean, he drafted me at 18 years old.
Right.
You know, I've been around him a lot. I've been around his son a lot. You know, I think the one thing that I tell Dave is like, hey, just be honest with me. Don't beat around the bush. If you have to tell me bad news, shoot me between the eyes. Don't lead me, you know, with breadcrumbs off a cliff.
Breadcrumbs off a cliff. Well, I might have to work on that one. I'll give you credit if I ever use that.
Nice.
Wise philosopher Nick Castellanos on his trip to Japan in his samurai sword once told me, don't use breadcrumbs to lead me off a cliff. I like that. I'm in.
Hey, football fans, it's playoff time, and we've got some exciting games to look forward to, and you can get in on all the playoff action right now with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, they are offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5 when you use code ROSE. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on in-progress games as they happen, making watching the game that much more exciting. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code ROSE. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code ROSE only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
I got something for you. I don't know if you saw this, but our co-founder of this company, John Boy, he does all these wonderful breakdowns. And one of the best ones he did was on your team against Uceta last year. The game where he had an ERA sub 1, and he came in and just lost his shit. And you, unfortunately, literally had to wear it. So we're going to play this for you, and I want to know whether or not Jimmy got the words right here. So let's see how this goes here.
So now the pitcher's pretty pissed off. Castellanos steps into the box. In his post-game interview, he said, when I stepped in, I just had a feeling he was going to hit me because we just ruined his whole season ERA and first pitch. Yup. Hey, bro, that's f***ed up. I get you're mad. I get you're mad. I don't give a f***. And you're mad at me because he swung? That's bullshit. Hey, that's bullshit. Yeah. Yeah, and he was just looking at him the whole time. He didn't say anything back, just looking at him.
How'd Jimmy do?
He's pretty spot on.
Is that the worst feeling in baseball when you know somebody is about to throw 96 toward your ribs?
If it's unwarranted, sure. You know, if there's some other stuff, somebody got taken out hard, we've drilled one of their players and whatever, then that's playing. But, you know, to have that shit happen like that, yeah, that's frustrating. And then to have Clemens and Wilson and everybody after be like, hey, man, he does that all the time in AAA. You know, like it's just frustrating. That's the only bad part about, for me, that pitchers don't get to step in the box anymore because there's no respect. You know, they don't care. They're so disconnected with the person inside the batter's box.
But how could you not care? Because even if he can't wear it by stepping in the batter's box, You know who's going to? Josh Lowe or somebody on the Rays.
You think that the Rays team at that point was connected and tight enough to care about other people? Or do you think that they were counting down the days hoping that their stats were good so that they can take it into arbitration and make money?
Maybe that's the difference between the Phillies and other teams.
Hey, but if you play that clip back, my whole team was in front of me before I even took my helmet off.
Oh, the best part is Harper from
boys ride.
Yeah, the best part is Harper from second base saying, "Hey, fucking, we don't do that. We don't do." That's powerful, isn't it? Because I imagine that there's probably, I don't know if you've been on teams where guys just kind of slowly walk out because they know that they have to get out there, and then there's dudes who are jumping the rail and sprinting, right?
Of course,
and that matters. I imagine.
Of course it matters.
The rest of Jimmy's breakdown was really interesting because he did a whole glove thing with Uceta and trying to figure out whether or not you guys had signs. I just want to play this little clip, and I'm not interested in you giving up trade secrets in the baseball world. But if you can take us in as baseball fans and kind of let us know, hey, yeah, we can pick that stuff up in a second, and it is really helpful. So just here's a 20-second clip on that. I want you to look at it.
Change up, flared. Then to 2 sinkers, lower than the button. And the button is just a cue for me from this angle. The batters are just noticing whatever they can notice. The hands are lower. They probably have a different vantage point. Maybe the elbow's different. Maybe where his forearm sits on his belt is different. Maybe the daylight between the glove and his body is different. But that thumb, that glove flaring up, that's a big one they look at. So you got it's just higher. But that last sinker all the way on the right, little bit of a fake out. That doesn't fall in line. Maybe that's why Stubbs struck out on that one.
So for us common folk, how easy is it for you guys to identify what's going on with a pitcher?
Listen, John Boy picks that stuff up way better than me. I think if people realize like how stupid I went into the box, for me it's really see ball, hit ball. How hard does he throw? And what's his best off-speed pitch? If he's tipping, it has to be so blatantly obvious and early, then I'll do it. But a lot of times when I try to do these things, like Torrey Hunter was a genius at doing all this. And I felt like when I'm looking for, did his finger move? Did his this? Did his that? I lost like concentration on the baseball. So for me, there are like Kyle is unbelievable at it. You know, there are guys that can do it. I'm not one that can. So John Boy breaking that down sounds like a genius to me.
You just made his year, by the way. I'm just going to tell you that. And he had a pretty good year. But you just made Jimmy's year.
No doubt.
Just one time. That's good. That's good. I know you got to go, but I got 2 more things for you.
Sure.
Number one.
Liam can wait.
All right. I do appreciate that. Jose Iglesias ended up on the Mets and had a phenomenal year.
MVP of the National League.
You really, you believe that, don't you?
No doubt.
Why?
Well, if you're looking at like the MVP as having the most weight on creating wins for your team, there's no other player that has had that much weight as Jose Iglesias. Because I think with him being able to come in and bring that Latin spark, knock the ice off of Lindor, finally got Vientos probably comfortable to be able to be an everyday third baseman. Now you have like a Latin infield. Francisco probably feels more comfortable because that's how it was in Cleveland when he was playing over there. And now a bunch of guys that looked like they had no direction, running in all different directions in the beginning of the year, came together and was running after one common thing. They made the playoffs, got to where they did, while the whole Mets organization had the OMG signs were everywhere from in the city to the stadium, everywhere. So the way I look at baseball, Jose Iglesias is unanimous National League MVP.
Come on. I mean, listen, Shohei went 50-50. You're saying that Jose Iglesias meant more to a team with his galvanizing and his number one pop song because he was able to turn around a franchise for a year?
Yes.
That's not going to work with the sabermetricians. I'm just telling you.
I'm not a sabermetrician. I'm a baseball player.
So you're saying because a guy grabbed a mic and went out at Citi Field and performed, and look at this, got everybody to run out to him, that this means way, way more than a guy who could go 30-30.
I'm saying that him going to the Mets and being himself got the organization to move in one direction. Shohei Ohtani played a huge part in the Dodgers winning. I don't know if he's the sole purpose of the Dodgers moving in one direction. That doesn't mean that what Shohei did isn't record book worthy and he's not an amazing baseball player. If I'm starting a team, I pick Shohei over Jose. There's no doubt about it. I'm not stupid. But the way that I saw baseball last year through my eyeballs, Jose Iglesias is the National League MVP.
That's incredible. It really is incredible. It's an incredible way to think about it. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to think Castellanos is crazy.
That's fine. I wonder how many baseball players would think like that. I wonder how many baseball players with over 10 years of experience, they may disagree with me, but I wonder how many baseball players that are fully vested will say that I'm crazy.
Did you know that Jose Iglesias could sing that well?
Yeah, he would do that all the time with the Tigers. I think also, too, that the fact that he was able to step away and be able to create in this avenue helped him be a better baseball player. Because I always think that he was playing baseball because it made him money, but there was a part of him that really wanted to be able to express himself through music and singing and stuff. And the fact that he was able to do that and have success gave him more confidence as a baseball player.
Listen, there's guys that can sing. They sing in the shower. They'll sing around the clubhouse. He had the number one freaking song. The number one song.
Well, a lot of that has to do with him tying into the Mets and them winning. It's real. Like that, it did. Obviously, it didn't win the World Series, but to think of where they were, right, when we were playing them before the London series, where that team was, and also too, like where Frankie was, because your shortstop every day. Now, I mean, now Soto's obviously the big dog there, but you know, Frankie is their leader, their shortstop, their cornerstone, their franchise, their everything. So like how he was before he got there, and then how he ended up like after he got there and they started buying into the whole thing is just night and day. Because the thing is, the way that I see it, I'm not just going off of his personal statistics. I'm going off of what I believe he did affected everybody else.
That's super interesting. God almighty, is that good? I love that. Two more things. Then you're out. Do you still have a flip phone?
No, I have an iPhone.
Welcome to the dark side, brother.
The dark side is right. At least you understand it's the dark side.
So do you find yourself flipping through Instagram or TikTok? Are you one of these now?
No, I don't have any of that on my phone. But sometimes I will be scrolling aimlessly through YouTube on things that I find interesting, like this Tesla car exploding, or you know the drone stuff, some Joe Rogan, things like that. And the way my mind works is like I just can't see information at face value. I'll start like seeing it, analyzing it, wanting to figure out more, things like that, and that can take me away from like my day to day that is in front of my face. So I just have to tread carefully because I have an addictive personality.
Okay, good. Got to know our limitations.
No doubt.
Finally, do you know that your mom placed bets on the Phillies to win it all this year?
Sounds like my mom.
She put it out there for division, to win the NLCS, and to win the frickin' World Series, and there's the betting slips to prove it.
Nice job, Nana. Nice.
Hey,
Nana. Sorry that we came up short.
But I'm going to tell you. Now, this is for 2025, so y'all haven't coming up short yet.
Oh, wait, this is this year.
Oh, yeah, this is the futures bet
nice.
that she pulled off. That is great. She is a baller for doing that. I just want to pass that along to her, please, okay?
No doubt. I'll let her know you said that Nana's a baller.
That is freaking awesome. Hey, dude, we got to do this more than every 3 years. I really, really appreciate it. Please tell Jess, because she was the kind of the intermediary to set this up. I know you got, 2 boys you want to hang out with, and I get that, and your off-season time is valuable. But I know that people love hearing from you because you got such a different perspective on the world, and I think it's refreshing, and we just want you to stay healthy and have a good 2025. Go kick ass.
No doubt. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Best to you and your family. All right, man?
Thank you. You too.
Got it. Special shout out to Robbie, Alex putting the show together. For Nick Castellanos of your Philadelphia Phillies, I am Chris Rose. We'll see you next time here on the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media.